Rose and welcome back to my channel. Today's video we're gonna discuss how to prepare sales invoice or tax invoice under sourcing and procurement business. So this video is just a continuation of MD4.1B, which is PO1 bill, because before we're gonna proceed on generating sales invoice or tax invoice, we must ensure that bill has been posted for this transaction. The reason why, we must have an existing inventory asset for those items sold before we can proceed on creating a sales invoice. Well, in sourcing and procurement, it's easy if we have generated the sales quotation, because sales quotation can be converted to sales order, and then sales order can be converted either PO and sales invoice or tax invoice. To have a clear picture, let's open the previous sales order that we've created in MD4.1B. So go to Zoho Books. So sales order is always under sales module. So this is the previous sales order that we presented in MD4.1B. Comments and history, so we can see here that originally sales order was from estimate or sales code. Then sales order can be converted or was converted to purchase order. So again guys, before you're gonna convert, so if you view the invoices, no invoices created so far. So let's go click this more icon, convert to invoice. But before you click this convert to invoice, please double check the item description and the quantity of sales order against the bill that you've created. So let's open another tab. So we have two tabs at the same time. You can view the sales order, at the same time you can also view the bill. So if we notice the reference here, the PO number 56789, this is a customer PO, and it was also a mention on our bill document 56789. So this is the corresponding bill of sales order 00001. So please make sure that your product description here in bill match on your sales order, and also the quantity match on your sales order quantity. Why I keep emphasizing this? Because for example, this is hand soap. Sometimes the supplier had provided you a quotation or a pro forma invoice with a unit of measure by piece. So for example, hand soap, by piece of one box is 10, so it means that 50 times 10. So under the purchase order, the purchasing officer changed the quantity from 50 boxes to 500 pieces. So before you proceed on converting the sales order, please change the purchase order quantity again to 50 boxes, because your quantity again, the sales order quantity and the bill quantity must match. So we have suppliers, we have encountered suppliers that their quotation or pro forma invoice is showing by piece, but we've offered our customer by box. So there are two options, guys. Either we're gonna post the purchase order and convert to bill by piece, then you're gonna create an inventory adjustment. But in our case, since each PO corresponds each sales order corresponds to one sales order, then it's better that you'll edit the purchase order. Please edit the purchase order same with what is showing on your sales. Please edit the purchase order same with sales order quantity, because again, I've explained before, sales order is just a copy of the customer PO that we receive, right? If you've remembered, I've remind you that please double check the sales quotation, your sales quotation, and the customer's PO. Once they are correct, then you can convert your sales quotation to sales order. This means that the sales order is also the customer's PO. So in your sales order, it's showing 50 boxes, then you must receive 50 boxes. Because later on, I'm going to explain it to you why I keep emphasizing that the quantity of the bill must equal to the quantity of the sales order, because sales order will just convert it to sales invoice, right? So when we convert it, it means that we cannot edit the quantity, or if we're going to edit the quantity of the sales invoice, it will show partial delivery, because this is a full delivery. We're not doing partial delivery. So this is the one who's in charge. The one who's in charge in preparing the bill must always consult with the operations team, because sometimes there are amendments on the part number or the quantity. So possibly the commercial documents will show different description and quantity. So always coordinate with the operations team. If possible, you can ask for a copy of the packing list and commercial documents so you can compare it with your bill. So to ensure that your inventory asset, because I want to emphasize here that even though we don't physically receive the item, because there are direct shipments, right? Like you're gonna directly deliver the items from the suppliers going to customer. But in reporting, in accounting, we always receive items as inventory, because the purpose, when we posted a sales invoice, the creator or the programmer of this Zoho accounting software has created a formula, or what they call this, a link, that if you posted a sales invoice, then automatically the inventory will be close to cost. So if you don't exist in inventory, then what's your cost after you acknowledge the sales? So not all of us are knowledgeable about this part, because we're more on the operation side. But in accounting side, this is the difficult part on our side, because if there's a problem when we post the inventory, then we have also a problem when we posting a sales invoice, because the reason, the cost, the inventory that was converted to cost will either be understated or overstated. So this is the time-consuming part, because it's just a simple document. If you notice, it's just the same. The format of the bill is also the same with the sales quotation, the sales order, but this bill must have a confirmation from the operation side, the inventory controller side, before you post this inventory, because this will be the basis of our cost. Well, it's easy for us to convert the sales order to sales invoice because we have the customer's PO, but for the bill side, it's the inventory controller and the accountant responsibility to do the investigation, proper investigation, if there are changes, amendments on the items ordered to the suppliers. Because later on, if you are not careful and reviewing when receiving the item in the system, then it means that later on you're gonna pay the supplier either over or under amount. So in this situation, well, it's correct. Hands up, it's still 50 boxes, and if we compare it to sales order, it's also showing 50 boxes. But again, what if the purchasing officer changed it to 500 pieces? Because as per the pro forma invoice that we've received, it's showing 500 pieces. So again, before you convert purchase order to bill, please change it again to 50 boxes before you receive. So later I'm gonna show you why I keep emphasizing this. And lastly, the total of the bill must match with the supplier's tax invoice or sales invoice. So regardless if you change the quantity of hand soap to 500 pieces, but still the total amount of line 1 must be 20,000. So since we posted this, because it's showing open, then we can go back to sales order and edit the sales order. So if we view the quantity, it's showing 50 above and stock on hand 50 boxes. Let's go back to what I've said a while ago, that if the purchase order had shown 500 pieces and you did not change the quantity from 500 pieces to 50 boxes, then once you posted the bill, this will show 500 pieces, right? So if we posted the sales invoice, 500 will just be deducted by 50. Then the 450 will left hanging in our inventory schedule. And our cost will show or will under by 450 quantities, 450 pieces. Hope this is clear to you guys. That please make sure that if here it's showing 50, then you must receive 50 boxes also. So once we're sure that this is correct, they're showing the same quantity and the rate, you can check this with the customer's PO, or if you receive another change order, for example, the rate was changed and you can change this, please amend this as per the change order that you receive from the customer. Then if all are correct, then we can convert it now to sales invoice. But before that, let me emphasize another thing in bill. So let's edit the bill side. So I've mentioned this before, that for the item, please always select inventory asset for the item, and for the other charges like delivery charge or bank charge, you can select freight cost for the delivery charge. For the bank charge, you can select bank charges fee. So all the accounts title are available in our chart of account. You can review the chart of account so you have an idea what are the existing accounts title for our profit and loss statement or the expenses side. So again, hand soap, this is an item, so always make sure that you've selected inventory asset. And for the freight cost, delivery charge is under services. So now you can click mark as confirmed, or you can directly click more, convert to invoice. Then it's still showing the same billing address, and the shipping address, or sometimes you can change the billing address as per the instruction mentioned on our customer's PO. The invoice number, again, you can change that based on what sequence you want, but the sales sales order number, keep it as is, and just add here what's the PO number of the customer. So it's 56789. So for example, the date of the invoice is today, and you're giving the customer 45 days payment term, and this must be mentioned in the customer's PO. So now the order. So ordered reference is source order, the invoices, and the quantity. So it means that the available inventory assets is 50 boxes, and also this one, no need for you to edit this, because once we posted the sales invoice, automatically this will show 50. So the important part that you must not miss is just receiving the item. And secondly, compare your sales order with the customer's PO or change order received from the customer. Then in this side, always make sure that if it's an item, then select an account sales. If there are additional charges, like for example freight, this is just an example. So say 1000. So this is freight is under services, so you can edit the account to freight income, but since it's not available here, so you must add the freight income in our chart of accounts. Then you can change sales to freight income to be more specific, because sales is just for the items and freight is for other income. So this is just an example. Or let's add freight income. So you're gonna see income, freight income. Let's add freight income. Save. Go to sales order again, since we have not saved that sales invoice. So let's convert again the sales order. So it's easy. You just need to convert sales order to sales invoice. Once you check everything, once you check all the documents. So for the sales order, please make sure that you compared it with the customer's PO or the customer's change order. Then secondly, please make sure that your bill, quantity, product description must match with the sales order quantity and product description. And the third one, please make sure that your bill is match or equal with the supplier's tax invoice or sales invoice. So again, please always put the customer's PO number. Yes, the purpose of this, later on when your customer or your employer will ask what's the last offer we had for a specific PO number, so we can easily retract the history. So again, for example, we add freight income or just freight. For example, from Dubai to Philippines. This is just an example. So for the items, the account is always sales. Or for the other charges like freight, please change sales to freight income. Then save. For the terms and conditions, guys, if you have generated or created results in the terms and conditions, then you can just copy paste here. So from your Microsoft Word file, you can just copy paste here, or there's an option to attach that file that you have. So let's try if we can save it. Now invoice has been created. So let's open it again. Please have one final review before you're gonna post the sales invoice. So now it's showing. This is what I'm emphasizing a while ago, that no need for you to put 50 quantity here, because once you've saved the sales invoice, then it will automatically reflect 50 quantities. Then next is mark as sent. Because actually, guys, you can bill the customer using Zoho accounting software. So there's an option here, send email attaching the invoices, or you can save the sales invoice as PDF, then you can attach it to your Outlook email address. But we're practicing saving it as PDF, and we send it separately, not using the Zoho accounting software, because Zoho accounting software has limitations, number of emails allowed at the same time. We have our own format. We had a format already in our Outlook email. Then we just need to attach the sales invoice. Then we can send it directly to the customer. As per the instructions, again, all the customer's PO has the complete details. So it mentioned the shipping address, the billing address, the terms and conditions, the payment terms, and it also mentioned where you can send the electronic sales invoice. So let's mark as sent this invoice that we've created. So send, next, edit. Save as sent. Okay, so open invoices. So now it's showing due date. So it means we've successfully posted the sales invoice, and if we edit this again, stock on hand is now showing 0. So this means that we've already converted the inventory of 50 boxes to cost of goods sold. By the way, guys, this is I'm just showing you how to add another charges in invoices, but actually, as I've explained before, your sales order must match with the customer's PO. So please add this freight on your sales order before you convert it to sales invoice. Because I'm just presenting the reason why I added one line here. Because originally the PO that we have received doesn't mention freight, but the reason why I've added the freight here because I want to show you that we can edit the account. So later on, if we'll have an evaluation or analysis, how much is the freight income generated, then you have the specific account title, the freight income. Rather than mixing sales, for both services and goods we've offered. So we can view the entry. After we posted the sales invoice, we can view the entry to reports. Go to reports, click accounts transactions. Then we can filter the date to easily view the entry. Yeah. So we just posted the invoice number ending 2, right? So when we post the entry, we've acknowledged accounts receivable. So it means Hazel Company has a payable of 26,000 to XYZ Trading. At the same time, we've acknowledged a sales or an income of 25,000. Right? Sales. So sales represents the item. The freight income represents the transportation. So we've acknowledged 1,000 for the freight income, and then we've converted inventory. So it means that the original value of the item that we've sold is just 20,000. So inventory asset is part of the balance sheet. Then once we've sold part of those inventory, then it's immediately converted to cost of goods sold. So accounts receivable, they are reflecting on our balance sheet. So later on, I'm going to explain it to you what is balance sheet, what is profit and loss statement. Hopefully, I can clearly share to you what this report means. But for now, we're just focusing on the accounting entry because most of us, we're just focusing on generating the document, but we don't know exactly what are the entries linked to our financial report. So again, I keep emphasizing that even though we don't physically receive the item, the inventory, but in reporting, we always acknowledge or we always recognize inventory before we can create a sales invoice, because this entry that I presented it to you now clearly explain that after we posted the sales invoice, then we acknowledge an accounts receivable of 26,000. 26,000 is equivalent to our sales invoice document, right? If you remembered, it's 26,000 the value of the sales invoice. Then we acknowledge an income, 25,000, and the freight income, 1,000. Then this part, the creator of the Zoho accounting software or even the other software, these entries that I'm showing you right now, they are always available in other accounting software because this is the standard this is the proper accounting entry when we post or when we recognize sales invoice. So that's how the importance of receiving the inventory in our system. So if you receive an incorrect quantity, then it means that your cost here after you posted the sales invoice will reflect an incorrect cost. So it means that your profit is high because your cost is low. So if your cost is under of, for example, the cost here will just show 10,000. So your cost is under of 10,000 and your profit is over of 10,000. So this is always the unclear side of the business because not all company hired a specific person to concentrate on the inventory control. Most of the time, operations team, they're focusing on the delivery side at the same time doing the count. But I would suggest if you afford to hire a specific person to control the inventory then and updating the records, then it would be a must. It would be a must. It must be actually. But since especially for this company that just started, then we understand the reason why they can't hide a specific person to monitor the inventory. But secondly, if you can't afford to hire another person, then the operations side must be knowledgeable of the importance of this inventory asset. Because later on, if we conduct an audit, a monthly audit or a yearly audit, and there are a lot of error or mistakes in each transaction, then the reconciliation of inventory against the actual count and the report showing in Zoho accounting software, it's a big, retracking and all, and it's a stressful task. So why not in the beginning, before you're gonna sell or you're gonna post an income, please ensure that you've received a correct inventory. Yes, um, I've, I've always received a feedback that why I keep emphasizing this inventory asset, where in fact we have not received the physical count, we have not received the actual count, the actual item. But again, this presentation, these accounting entries, clearly mentioned that once we posted the sales invoice, the system had created a link to immediately convert the inventory asset that we received to cost of goods sold. So that would be all for today. Have a nice day and see you on my next video.